What's up, everybody? Andy here again, out in the garage, gonna do some work. One of the quick things that I like to do whenever I get a new bike is get into the foot pegs and sharpen them up, because they come kind of dull from the factory when you pick them up, and that's one of your biggest contact points when you're racing, and anything that you can do to make it easier to hang on makes a big difference. So I'm just going to walk you through how I do this real quick. It takes a couple minutes to get it done, and it helps a lot. So what I'm going to be using to do this is just a simple 90-degree angle die grinder. There's a couple ways that I do this. This is my favorite way. I feel like I've got the most control, and I get the best results with it. But if you don't have one of those, the other option that I used to use is just a normal file from any hardware store you can pick up, and I'll show you how I go about that too. It's not hard to do it with just a file without the air tools, but if you don't have access to the air compressor and the tools, it's definitely a way to get it done. So these are a little bit dirty. We're gonna start off with this is just a file that I picked up at the local hardware store that I use when I'm doing metal work. But this actually, it works okay. You just gotta get in a rhythm and find your angle. And this file's actually a little thick getting in between the teeth, but it'll work. You just gotta smell a little grease and start working. So you can see it's already taken off a little bit. It doesn't take a whole lot. If your the pegs actually line up, sometimes it's easier to come all the way across. That way you can get two done at the same time, and it gets them a little more even. The only thing that I don't like about this, and I'll show you in a second, is it's hard for me to keep a consistent stroke with it, and maybe it's just me, but with the big disc on the die grinder, it's easier for me to get into the hole, and I feel like I have more control with it. These foot pegs actually cut down pretty quick. It doesn't take a whole lot of time and a whole lot of effort. It's just the elbow grease with doing it with the hand file. So the next way we're going to do this, I'm going to grab my angle grinder here, my die grinder, and we'll hook it up and do it that way. I think it works a little bit easier, more controlled. You'll see here in a second. The big wall all pumped up. You don't realize how much harder things are to do with one hand. Make quick work of that. On this one too, fine tune your pressures and go with whatever your recommended settings are. But on this one in particular, if you'll focus there, it's actually got a screw to set your settings. So I always recommend starting on the low end on the speed, especially on these foot pegs, because they cut down really quick. And depending on how abrasive of a wheel you're using, it doesn't take much to have an accident and take off way more than you anticipated. Let me get this set up and we'll dig in there with the grinder. So I've got my speed set about halfway on here, and that's where I like it, where it seems to be working the best for me. Don't mind this, or the flap disc hooked on the front of this that was being used, but I'm not using that, I'm just using the grinding wheel on the outside. So this way too, it's a lot easier to get in. On the back side, you can cover the whole thing and very quickly. pretty quick work of getting those feet done. I feel like you've got more control and more consistency with it. The biggest problem is trying to get into these back ones back here because you can't get the grinder in there where you're going to have to hit it with a file regardless of how you choose to do it. There we go. That's about what I can get done with the angle grinder without getting out the file and getting those last couple, and just making sure everything's straightened up the way I like it. So I'm having some trouble focusing here. But you can feel those, and that makes one heck of a difference. The other side is it wears out the bottom of your boots quicker, so keep that in mind when you do it. But definitely you get into the mud, it'll help you hang on. There we go. Thanks for checking it out. I hope that helps some of you if you're looking for a way to get some more grip on the bike. Like I said, it's a quick 20-minute job and you're done. Easy to do. Just be careful because it's really easy to take off excess metal, and foot pegs aren't a cheap item to replace. But without buying the real expensive sharp titanium ones, it's an easy alternative that'll get you somewhere. Thanks for checking it out. Catch y'all later.